Call the meeting to order for Town Board regular meeting number 17, September 19th, 2016. Roll call.
Councilman Billico.
Here.
Councilman Radico.
Here.
Councilwoman Kinney.
She will not be making it. She wasn't feeling well.
Councilman Madigan.
Here.
Supervisor McPherson.
Here. The invocation will be done by St. Stephen's Roman Catholic Church. Sam Binney. The pledge will be led by Councilman Chris Aronica.
I'm sorry that the regular priest who was scheduled isn't here. He had other appointments, and I know you were looking forward to having Father Lynn. I think it's terrific with all the number of people that are here that we start out praying that people learn to take time to hear what everybody says before they say anything or do anything. A very good example. Picture this scenario. I said to somebody, we're having a problem with the computers over at St. Stephen's. There seems to be a virus. Somebody spread the word that there's a virus going on at St. Stephen's, and they closed up the school. The school people said to me, why did you close the school? I said, I didn't close the school. Grand Island closed the school because they wanted to pave and they wanted to keep the kids out of the way. A lot of good things if we take time to listen to each other. Heavenly Father, keep us listening to you first, to do what you want. Listen, give each other a little bit of a break. We need that. We love you in Christ our Lord. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father Sam, I haven't seen you in a while. I'd like to move up. Okay, we're going to start today with proclamations and certificates of appreciation. Two of our recipients cannot be here for legal reasons, but I want to briefly mention Officer Jason Clark and Peter O'Brien. They were involved in the incident on Grand Island, the threat to the Officer Clark's life, and we are going to give them proclamations, but they cannot be here tonight. Can I get a round of applause for those two gentlemen? Now, if you will indulge me, I'm going to step down and read this before we do this proclamation. It's for Crop Walk, Grand Island's 29th anniversary of the Crop Walk. The proclamation reads, whereas 2016 is the 70th anniversary of the Church World Service, which began CROP, originally an acronym for Christian Rural Overseas Program in 1947, and whereas CROP, now an acronym for Communities Responding to Overcome Poverty, Hunger, walks are community-wide events organized by religious groups, businesses, schools, and others to raise funds to end hunger in the United States and around the world. Whereas annual crop walks across the nation raise millions of dollars for this vital effort, and whereas 1/4 of all money raised in Grand Island crop walks is returned to the Western New York community for food and poverty needs. Whereas the Grand Island will hold its 29th annual crop walk beginning at 2 p.m. on Sunday, October 2nd, 2016, Beaver Island State Park. Therefore, be it resolved, the town board of the town of Grand Island hereby encourages all residents to support CROP, communities responding to overcome poverty, by walking or supporting someone else who will be walking. To support this event, we're going to have the proclamation. I just wanted to bring it up so everyone could see. Is anyone here from Crop Walk tonight? Sir, can I have your name real quick? Yes, you first. Yes. What, say that again? Yeah, town board just come on up with us. We're going to take a picture. Is that okay, sir? Tom, nice to meet you.
Kathy, really good.
Kathy, nice to meet you. Come on in the middle here. We'll hold this together. Thank you for those in attendance indulging this. round of applause for Crosswalk. By the way, real quick, this gentleman, anything we ask the town hall to show up for volunteer efforts, he is always there. He is always there with his sunglasses and hat, working in the field, doing everything we need to do. He is a great member of the Grand Island community, so thank you, sir. Okay. So we are going to have 2 public hearings tonight. I wonder if I should follow the agenda. I guess I have to follow the agenda on this because there's going to be a change to the public hearing schedule tonight for one of the items based on recent feedback. Yeah, I'm gonna make a motion to move that item before public comment. Can I get a second on that?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
What are we doing?
We're gonna, well, the workshop we discussed it is, well, first we're gonna discuss this item first, the public hearing item. For local law number 7 of 2016.
And then have the comments.
Who's gonna discuss it?
We are. I'm gonna set it at the top of the agenda so people here waiting who may be interested in that subject don't have to wait. Let me explain why. I made the motion to bring it up to the top of the meeting agenda.
We're discussing town board.
Yes.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 So we received a lot of feedback over the last several days, including feedback from the planning board. The planning board in particular has asked us, or asked to have its own public hearing on this law. Under the town code, it's arguable that they have a right to make that, or to demand that, or to ask that we provide that to them. And we think there's a reason to do that so at this time, given the strong public demand. Therefore, I am going to make a motion in a moment, or entertain a motion to cancel the public hearing to allow the planning board to have its own public hearing on this law. And we are going to provide them a revised law that will have a look-back provision whereby the current non-conform or legal non-conforming vacation homes will have the opportunity, if the new law is passed, to look back to October 15th in case there is a delay beyond October 15th. To explain it further, I'm going to refer to the town attorney. Do you mind?
So the only amendment to existing local law would be a provision that would essentially grandfather uses that were lawful non-conforming uses as of October. Sorry, better? Okay, sorry about that. The only change to the existing local law would be to add a provision that would grandfather all uses that were existing non-conforming uses as of October 15, 2016. Other than that, the draft of the law that the board discussed is the same as this has been previously circulated.
So simply put, we're going to have the planning board, we're going to allow the planning board to have their hearing, which they requested. But we're going to ask them to have a hearing on a law that has a look-back provision to October 15th for the existing legal non-conforming uses. Does that make sense?
Could I just further clarify? So there's rules that are in place in terms of the advisory board is supposed to review this and advise us as well as advise the people. And then there's this other rule that's in there that allows them to hold a town hearing. And we want to follow the process in this legislation, and that's what we need to follow the process. And that's why we're looking at canceling the meeting, but obviously a number of people here probably wanted to say something or speak, and this is still on the agenda, so if you wanted to say something or speak, you could probably do that at the beginning of the meeting.
So we're going to have the open agenda items. You can still speak if you'd like to, but there is going to be a separate public hearing by the planning board on this item, and we will not have a public hearing tonight. So if the town board votes to cancel the public hearing and refer the item to the planning board.
I have a question for Peter. Peter,
Yes?
are we, the town board, not required to have a public hearing if the planning board has a public hearing?
town board would ultimately need to have a public hearing with regard to the law before it could be enacted.
Right, so we're talking about the planning board having a meeting that they will consider a portion of their meeting being a public hearing at that meeting about this law, and then we, the town board, will have to have a public hearing.
That's right afterwards.
And those will be the meetings where the comments taken are actually entered into the, that's the word I'm looking for.
The record.
Thank you very much.
That's correct.
It will be entered into the record. So that's when people need to make the comments, because then they'll officially get entered into the public hearing record.
Right, what's proposed is that the hearing on the existing local law would be canceled
Right.
tonight.
Right,
The law would be revised in the manner that I just described.
right.
The new local law would be referred tonight to the planning board, and the process would follow from there.
Right, okay, just wanted to make that clear that if comments were made tonight, I mean, everybody has a right to do what they want, but if comments are made tonight, they are not entered into the record for the public hearing. Right, okay.
And if we had a public hearing tonight on the existing version of the law, it would not be valid anyway, because we're gonna make a considerable material change to the law to have that look back provision. So that's the reason to cancel the public hearing tonight. So, you'll have your chance, one more moment. So I will entertain a motion to cancel the public hearing on that version of the law and to refer the matter,
Public hearing to refer the local law as revised to the planning board.
did you get that? So to cancel the public hearing and refer the local law as revised to the planning board.
So move.
Is there a second?
Second. I'll second it.
Roll call?
Clear discussion.
Discussion, go ahead.
I'm not real happy about doing this. There was correspondence over the weekend telling us that we were not going to, at least the opinion of that particular person, was that the public hearing we were about to hold was not going to be a legal public hearing, and suggested we cancel the public hearing and to do it immediately so the public would know.
Well,
And
it takes.
Nothing happened, and now we have a whole bunch of people who have come out tonight with the expectation that they were going to be able to comment on a public hearing that we've kind of figured out that was not going to be a valid public hearing. And all these people are kind of inconvenienced. I was wondering why there wasn't some conversation over the weekend.
Well, when you receive email over the weekend, and on Monday morning, you digest it, you look at it from a legal perspective, and you have to see what your options are. So it took time to analyze. In the workshop today, we looked over it, and we thought this is the most fair and safe way to go forward from a legal perspective at this time, underneath the current procedures of town law. So ideally, we would do it we'd have all the information and all the facts together to cancel the town board meeting on a Saturday night, but we just didn't have that. So as soon as we had that information together, we resolved to move forward in this manner. We talked about it today, and we decided that I would make a motion, and we have the motion made.
I'm not positive, I don't have it in front of me, I don't have the electronic device to look it up, but I'm pretty sure that I got a communication on Friday regarding this situation. And the suggestion that we immediately cancel the public hearing.
Well, it does take a resolution of the town board to cancel a public hearing. Considering we had a workshop tonight, I'm not sure how we would have done that otherwise. So I understand the inconvenience of the people here gathered, but you're still welcome to make comments on this agenda item. The frankly put, the public hearing would not have any meaning because the law will change.
That's not what I was talking about, I was talking about the communication to the public.
Well, the public can still talk on this issue. It's still
But
relevant.
it doesn't
to the
make any
public.
sense for the public to talk on the issue because it doesn't get entered into the record. They're just gonna have to say the exact same thing that they wanna say when we have the actual public hearing.
Okay, your concern is noted. Is there any other discussion on this point? So we'll get a vote? Roll call?
Billika,
Reluctantly, aye.
Madigan,
Aye.
Maravka,
Aye.
McMurray.
Aye. Okay. So moving forward, we will go to the public hearing on agenda items only. Now, given the large number of people in attendance tonight, we will strictly keep this to 2 minutes per person max. You will have one opportunity to come to the microphone. It's not about who spoke loudest or spoke last. Give everyone an opportunity to speak. So when you come up and you speak, make sure you say what you want to say, because you'll not have another chance to come back again. You're not going to have a second bite at the apple. You'll have one chance. I should remind you again that this is a different forum than other forums in town hall. I say it every time, but I'll say it again. It's the forum we start with a prayer. Now, there's always diverse opinions, there's always diverse sides, there's always feelings and emotions involved, but we should keep this as respectful as possible. This forum should be a respectful forum. I will not tolerate personal attacks on myself or any members of the board, and especially I will not tolerate personal attacks on other people in attendance. If you make such personal attacks, I will ask you to leave. This is not a forum for people to vent and say whatever's on their mind or whatever accusation or allegation they feel free to make. You can speak on items of public policy that are relevant to the agenda. That being said, I will open the public hearing, or the public comment period.
Good evening. I won't be speaking to what I was going to speak to because we're not having the public hearing, but I would very much like to thank those who came out in support of us today, in case they can't come out next month when we do this again. Can we have a show of hands at least of people who are in support of Local Law 7? Thank you. Thanks for coming out. Appreciate it.
Hi, it's Chief 18 Janelle Drive, Grand Island, New York. Again, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out in support of Local Law 7. I do have one concern with the public hearing for the planning board, because we've been constantly, even up until tonight, getting our opposition having signed petitions against our existing point in our vacation homes. We've got a gentleman, Frank Recker, who's vocal against our concept, against our vacation homes. How can he be present at the planning board and not recuse himself from this particular issue if this is something that's going to go in front of him again while he's vocally against us from A to Z? So I would like maybe have some input on how he can sit there on the board and judge our well-being when he's there publicly getting groups against us and trying to fight the same issue. It seems like a conflict of interest to me.
Joe Stephan, 3511 West River. I'm personally offended by having the president of the planning board solicit me to come and object to this law. I don't think that is proper or ethical. Thank you.
I was just curious, how do you define lawful when nobody's ever obtained a license for this, except for 4 people that took it to court, and they were awarded permission to operate? But nobody else ever even tried to get a license, but you already defined them as lawful. Now, I don't understand how you could do that, because if you don't follow the law, how can you be lawful?
Hi, my name is Josephine Chief and I reside at 18 Janelle.
Can't hear you.
Sorry. My name is Josephine Chief and I reside at 18 Janelle. I do own vacation homes on the island, and I started this about 5 years ago. And when I started it 5 years ago, my attorney was right by my side when we were doing the business permits and everything. And I asked him, should I go to town hall to get an application for this vacation home that I have? And at that point, he told me there is no application for tourist homes. So I did try, but there was nothing there. So I didn't do anything illegally because there was nothing by law saying that we couldn't do that. The town did not provide anything for us.
there any other comments on agenda items?
Tom Burke, 2285 West River Road. I just wondered if I might ask a question about the mechanics of the planning board hearing. Will it occur within this meeting room here to accommodate what I'm sure may be a turnout?
I think it could. I think we could do that if there's a big turnout. We could put the tables down there, or we could, you know, if the planning board chair wants to sit here.
I wasn't even aware
I
that
think
this,
if we could have the space, we could do that.
I wasn't aware of this mechanism. Has the planning board ever,
As far as I know, it has never been done before, but it is in the town code.
and you will issue public notice of the
Yes, sir.
hearing?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any other comments on agenda items?
Brett Shipman, 2020 Dix Road, Grand Island, Mr. Supervisor, Town Council. I bring to your attention a man named Corey McGowan. Corey McGowan,
Wait, before we go any further, is this on the agenda items?
is this regarding the town, the vacation homes, right?
Yes, sir.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Corey McGowan, a man who sees stuff that we don't see, resources that we don't see. Someone who brought the Gus Macker tournament, the Taste of Grand Island. We're in the same vein as Corey McGowan. We're seeing resources that others aren't seeing. The vacation tourist homes can be done, can be worked with the law. You look at Corey, first year out with Gus Macker, he had multiple issues, but he worked through those issues. We're asking for the same consideration, to have the law passed, work through the issues, work with the naysayers, and make this a go for Grand Island. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments on this agenda items? Okay, I think there's a lot of people here that want to leave because they don't care about the other issues on the agenda. So and there's people outside that are waiting, so we can take a break now to let some people air out. Is that okay? Or you can stay if you're enjoying the show. You can stay as long as you like. Just please do me a favor and leave quickly. Thanks.
But these people are leaving because they're only here for the tourists. Yeah, because he said these are public hearings. Yeah. I get the difference, yeah. Huh, interesting. Are you aware? And this is not on the phone. Yeah. Did you ever go to Queen yet? You go? Are you going this year? I'm like, oh, I don't know. I'm scared. I'm just scared to go to Queen. I'm scared to go to Queen. Oh, mine doesn't show the comments.
Okay, moving on to the second issue, we're going to have a public hearing. Y'all can be seated for a second, please. Thanks. we'll have a public hearing on preliminary plat for the Love Road and Alt Boulevard subdivision, SBL number 50.00-3-1.11. The planning board has recommended the approval. Can you please read the relevant part?
Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held on Monday, the 19th day of September, to consider an application by Vogalo Holdings LLC for preliminary plat approval of Love Road and Alt Boulevard subdivision. All interested persons may attend at said time and place and be heard.
Are there any comments on this? Public hearing on this item? Okay, I'll end the public hearing on that item. I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing on preliminary plat approval for the Love Road and Alt subdivision, SBL number 50.00-3-1.11. We can just close it? I think we need a motion, don't we?
You don't need a motion, you just close it.
Okay, I'll close the hearing. Okay, I will entertain a motion to accept the past minutes from regular town board meetings number 16.
Just a second.
Go ahead.
Do we want to approve this now?
Okay, you're right. So I'll make a motion to approve preliminary plat approval for Love Road and Alt Boulevard subdivision. Is there a
Second.
second?
Second.
If I can, I'm sorry, do we have to do seeker before that?
No. I thought it was, I thought you already had done that, no? You had not done seeker?
Seeker, you guys have to vote on seeker.
So where should we, do we need a motion to have that on the seeker? It's preliminary plat approval?
Yes.
So I think what this is doing is it's authorizing you to get the seeker. So,
You can't do any motions or votes without seeker. Right. I gave him everything, he should have.
it has not been prepared by the Bob Westfall.
Okay, so that means that the 30 days isn't up, so we'll close the public hearing and we'll come back at the next meeting.
Okay, usually the town board would receive recommendations from.
So I will move on beyond that point at this moment.
Okay, that's fine, we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Close the
Alright.
public hearing, refer to town board then.
So I will close the public hearing and move on, refer the matter to the public, to the town board. I'll entertain a motion to make that, to close the public hearing and to refer the matter to the town board.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
You have to care.
So, Ray, did you motion or second?
Yeah.
Motion and second.
Okay. So I will entertain a motion to accept the past minutes from regular town board meetings number 16, and as well as workshop meetings number 41. Is there a motion? Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'll entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda. We received the following: building permits issued in August of 2016, facility and vehicle usage for August at the Golden Age Center, meeting minutes from the Zoning Board of Appeals for August, meeting minutes from the Economic Development Advisory Board for August and September, meeting minutes for the Planning Board for August. Are there any communications to the town board for the consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Communications from my office. We need to set a public hearing for the Community Development Block Grant for 2017. This is the federal grant that covers a number of areas, including low income, senior citizen, handicap access, and planning. Currently, there are 2 proposals being developed by the town: a van for the Golden Age Center and an elevator for Town Hall to give a second floor access from the main level. The purpose of the hearing is to hear other ideas that will help, other ideas proposed for federal grants for the Community Development Block Grants for 2017. So we can present those ideas at the public hearing. So I'll entertain a motion to set a public hearing on October 3rd. Is there a motion to set that hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Effective immediately, I am appointing Gina Tedesco to the assistant to the supervisor in accounting. The appointment does not affect the budget in any way. There is no change to the grade or step of the existing salary schedule. Tina has been a provisional employee since 10/14/2014.
I'll second that, or so moved.
I don't think we need anything because it's my appointment, so, but thank you, sir.
Try.
Communications from Mike Madigan. Mike, you have wanted to discuss the West River Bike Path proposal, your proposal for West River Bike Path.
Yes, I think there's a considerable amount of public interest and concern about what's being proposed in terms of safety, access to the disability, for the disabled, really the maximum use of the trail, as well as ecologically, the road itself, or sorry, the least disruptive to what has become a very big breeding ground for migratory birds and other wildlife. As a result, I would like to propose a meeting. I would like to make a motion to schedule a public meeting regarding the Town of Grand Island's preferred option for West River Parkway multi-use path project. Aaron, no, I will hand you something in a minute, so you don't have to write all this down. Parkway multi-use path project during the October 3rd board meeting or in close proximity to that date. State officials would be invited. An invite will be sent to those officials. The meeting would start with a brief 3 to 5 minute presentation of option 4 and regarding any other options individuals would like to present from the board or from the public if they have, for instance, option 5 has been mentioned where no activity is desired. So we will permit, but you have to submit the request on or before September 28th at noon in order to be on the agenda and provide that presentation. Presentations for each option will be followed by a public question and answer session and/or speakers with a maximum time limit of 3 minutes per person. I'd like to present that motion.
Second it for discussion.
Is there discussion from the town board?
I'm a little worried about October 3rd. Because I was thinking, oh no, we won't do it. I just answered my own question.
Right.
We will not be having a public hearing for tourist homes on that day.
It wouldn't be
because
possible.
The planning board has to get through that, so we're talking about November.
That would be the ideal
So
date.
are we talking about this, it's a public meeting, not a public hearing, right?
Correct. It's more informational, but I think there's a lot of concerns, and I think through question and answer, and ideally if we can get the state folks here, I think educating the people, letting them know, as well as, I think at the last meeting, it was kind of sprung on them on July 20th regarding the closure of the parkway. So during that hearing, they didn't really have a good opportunity to present their concerns in person. And I think this will provide that opportunity that was missed on July 20th.
I don't disagree with any of that, Mike. What I'm kind of worried about is it's on the same night as the town board meeting. And if we have other things that we need to get through and discuss, I would think that that's going to be a fairly long presentation and question and answer period. I'm wondering if it can be held on a date other than a town board meeting.
I think it's most convenient, so I'm saying 3 to 5 minutes, or we can limit the presentation to 3 minutes. I mean, there's only gonna be 3 presentations. It sounds like it would be almost the format of a normal hearing. I wouldn't expect it to go any longer than tonight would have with the housing, vacation homes issue. I think the most convenient would be on October 3rd. It could be on our town board meeting, and that would be my preference.
Would we consider starting that earlier?
We could do that in place of the workshop at 6.
We could have the workshop start at 6, go 6 to 7, and have this start at 7.
So 6 p.m.
And then get into our regular meeting, hopefully at 8.
Yep. Yes. I think that would be a great.
I think that would be better.
So let me make a couple comments. The powers over this project is the state. They are working on plans. They are reviewing the ideas you've had and others have had, which includes, as far as my understanding is if my understanding is correct, data from the road and the usage of the road. You've thrown a lot at them, and they have a lot to go over. You can ask someone to a date, but if they don't come, you're solo, you're alone. I'm not sure they're ready to have a hearing. There's been no discussion about whether they have a hearing. They haven't come back to us and said we want to have a hearing. So we can have a hearing and talk amongst ourselves, but it's a little bit like navel gazing. If the parties that control the project or who have design authority over it are not here, what's the point? And I know we've made a request to them to have this hearing, and we have not yet heard back. Don't you think we should hear back first and see what their ideas are, and see where their progress in the planning is before we make demands they show up?
What if there's some good ideas that come out of these questions that are answered that can be provided to the state as they move forward with their planning?
There's literally been thousands of comments and pieces of feedback.
But there's also been a lot there's a lot of moving parts on this thing that have changed since the beginning, so I think.
Well, what do you think of my original point? That
Here's my thought, and I just revised that a little bit. Number one, for the 6 p.m. start. Number two, this is for public record, so it is basically a hearing. There was a hearing, it was for public record. We need another one. We've not had, there's a lot of people that are writing-wise very effective. A lot of people don't feel comfortable writing, but prefer the face-to-face and the public speaking and presenting comments. So this would be for public record. The opportunity was missed, I think. It would have been a very different meeting on July 20th if the public had been permitted to know what the plan was in advance, which I don't really view that as having been a fair presentation, not knowing that there was a plan in the works for the closing of the parkway that was basically sprung on a lot of people on the 20th of July. And so I think this would present that opportunity. I would hope the state would consider attending, and that we would as well have a good exchange of information so they can hear directly and see and hear and understand what the people's concerns are. And there's, to me, some very valid concerns. Number one, in terms of the project objectives, there's 4 of them. One is safety. Option 4's moving, the option 3 that was presented, the closing of the parkway, moves all that traffic onto the service road. That's about 400,000 cars a year over the 9-month period that will now be going on the service road that used to be going on the parkway in very close proximity to residents. It doesn't improve safety. That's probably almost the number 1 objective of the project. It doesn't improve safety, it degrades it. Number 2, the access for the disabled and the elderly, Americans with disability. Option 3 actually reduces access. They no longer will be able to ride along the parkway. They no longer will have all the overlooks, is what my understanding is, what was presented, so they will lose a benefit they currently have. Whereas option 4 continues to provide that same level of access. Number 3, the maximum use, close proximity to the service road. The closer you are to the residents, which is what option 4 does, the more apt the elderly in particular that you see walking up and down that road all the time. They're not going to walk over a berm through a ditch and get over to the parkway. If it's just 10 foot off of the service road, they're more apt to use that. Similarly, any of the residents, I mean, if there's a berm and a ditch, which in 90% of the cases is what exists, they're going to have to travel a distance up or down the road. So we're not separating the residents from the service road. All we're doing is having them travel a distance to get over to the bike path while increasing considerably, especially during the rush hours, the traffic on that road. So that objective is not being met. And then in terms of what we currently have on the riverbank, it's been allowed to go back to the wild. It's one of the better breeding grounds. It is the best breeding ground anywhere on this island right now. And I think what's being proposed is much more access, much more public traffic along that be accessible along that riverbank. And personally, I prefer the wildlife and the protection of that wildlife that's formed over the last 50 years due to the lack of maintaining that water edge. I think that's an ecological benefit, and especially for migratory birds, which you see up and down that all year round.
Mike, we've heard your arguments before on this, and we hear them every week, every time we have a meeting. Well noted. I think that the idea right now is to ask the state to have a public hearing. I expressed my concern that the state may not want to have a public hearing, may not be ready to have a public hearing. We have not heard back from them. Are there any comments from the town board members regarding that item?
So just on, I mean, it's since the 18th of August that they've had option 4. It's been since the 5th of August that we've been asking for a meeting with the town, with the state. The state is aware that we rejected option 3 on August 5th. We have presented them with a lot of information. I'm sure that they're going through it fairly and considering, especially the facts regarding meeting the objectives of the project. And hopefully they come here and say, we're on board, the preferred option is number 4, and it'll be a very good meeting. So that's what I'm looking forward to, and that's why I think that we should meet. And I do think since the August 18th to the 3rd of October, that's more than sufficient time for them to have reviewed it.
Well, I'm not an engineer. I can't speak on their behalf. You know as well as I do, I can't speak to them without working with you. We've sent them multiple requests for a hearing. We have not heard back from them yet. I assume they're still working on it. We as a town board can have as many hearings as we want. It's up to us. I mean, we can, if you guys are interested in doing that, I suggest we wait till we hear from them.
If nothing else, it provides a hearing, a public record, which I would want us to capture, pros and cons, because there'll be both sides. We believe that the town is divided. So we want to hear the people that are for this project, the people that are against this option, and there are 2 options. Neither one of them says we don't do the path, although there are some people that are for not doing the path, so they would have an opportunity to present that as well. But hearing the different options and as well going on public record on what your opinion is for those options. And I do think that that public record then can be submitted. In the event that the state chooses not to attend, we can at least submit the public record and show them how it broke.
There's always benefits to having more hearings. The public record on this is copious. It goes back years. There's ample feedback.
Not on closing the
No,
vote.
Sure there is.
July 20th is the
Take it
first
easy.
time.
Take it easy.
July 20th.
We can have another
That's
hearing.
days,
The
weeks.
reason why we have a town board is because the town board votes. Kick this ball all you want, the town board votes, and they will vote. So is any more discussion on this item?
Well, the only thing is, if we get the same amount of people that we had at the school, this room's not gonna be big enough.
We would have to do it at the high school.
Okay, we will ask for permission to do that. If otherwise, it may be here, it may be crowded.
It could not be done here. The 2 hearings that were done here on the matter, one of them, the one last October, it was overflowing.
Okay, we'll ask if we can do it at the high school.
If that's the case, which I think is probably logical, that won't work on October 3rd.
Okay, so
we have a town board meeting here at 8 o'clock. And we should probably have a workshop before that. That's why I was wondering if we could put it on a different date.
Okay, how about the week of October 3rd is what we'll shoot for, or a date that's.
How about the following Monday, we normally have a workshop.
Columbus Day.
Oh,
Could be Tuesday, the 11th.
I think the sooner the better is preferred. So sometime between October 3rd and October 11th, 3rd, or.
It probably hinges on whether or not you can get to high school.
Right.
Or
So we don't know if the state's gonna come. We don't know if we have a venue. What's your motion?
The motion is to hold a public hearing, basically, meeting.
A hearing or an information meeting? Information session?
I want to read it accurately. And just to confirm, if it's public it's a hearing, it's not public record, right?
In either case for this matter, in any case where there's a meeting where the majority of the board is present, there'll be a record that's made of the meeting, and you can have that in as much detail as you wish. A hearing isn't specifically required on this, and is typically contemplated in connection with matters that there's a hearing obligation in relation to it. But essentially, I think what you're talking about is a public information session at which time the public would have an opportunity to speak and provide input. Yes.
So I spent a lot of time over the last several weeks looking at this, how it's been handled in other towns. And it's commonly the case that the party with jurisdiction over the space handles the scheduling of hearings, handles the collection of public feedback, handles the project. But again, the town board has the power to hold hearings, whatever matter they feel.
Well, I guess the question I have is then why do they want a letter from the town board in support of this?
They haven't asked for that.
Yes, they have. The Greenway Commission asked for that.
They asked that when we opened up first opened up the
The fact
project.
still remains that they're looking for our support as a board, so I would say that we should have some input into this thing. If they're looking for a letter and our support, then
Like I said, you can have a public hearing.
I can say this as well, having done it a number of times, like regarding the downsizing of the town board, regarding the assessment. As a citizen, you can hold meetings just like this. And I've had a lot of people attend, as well as the town board, Ray, Chris, others. We should always consider ourselves empowered to hold such meetings, and to set false boundaries is something we should not do. The people are who us electeds are accountable. You all are our boss. And the more engaged you are, the more impact you'll have on this decision. That's what we can see. The reality is, the more that we make it clear what our position is,
I'm concerned, however, based on your comments in the last meeting, that what we are setting up is a kangaroo court where people will, we're demanding that public officials show up, that we have consulted, that we're demanding that people come. And what we do not have in America is what is called mob rule. So if we set this meeting up, it will be our responsibility, the town board, to make sure that it's as respectful as possible, that it's a forum that allows diverse opinion and debate and discussion, rather than a show of defiance or anger or vilification. Because let me finish. I've had comments from certain people in some of these hearings that said, listen, I was afraid to stand up. I was afraid to make comments. And so we have a responsibility, if this hearing is held, to gather additional input to make sure that we create a forum where everyone feels.
And that's, I think, there is minimal risk of that. I think the town is very well behaved and is able to make their case without getting emotional.
Okay, well, good. We will, if we have the hearing, we'll make sure that's our responsibility to make sure that's the case. So is there any other discussion on this item?
Okay, so I'm going to reread what the motion is because my writing isn't place it, Karen, if that's okay. I'd like to make a motion to schedule.
It's not a public comment period, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We'll have an opportunity, I promise.
All I was wondering is where can you look and find out
It's on the agenda.
yeah, but is there like, it's on your site, does it explain the whole, what they're trying to do there? Or?
It's on their site, it's on their site. And this is another point, by the way, I'm glad you brought it up, but no more comments from the crowd until we have the public hearing period. They said they have a preferred option. They received a ton of feedback. I have no insight into where they're going. I would prefer to see where they're going and their final decision before I have additional comments on it. But I really don't know. And do you know? Does anyone in this
I
four
can
of us
speak
know?
on that. I can say that not only did they say it was their preferred option, for the record, they said it was Grand Island's preferred option after having talked to our supervisor. I think that that's part of the reason why we need to speak loud and clear and make sure they understand what our position is. Because it was not our preferred option.
But you understand that they have not made a decision yet, correct?
We have not, and I think that's why we can
Go ahead, Ray, your turn.
influence.
Could we not go back and forth anymore?
Yes, sir.
Because we have a question in front of us. Are we going to support a public meeting that we're gonna ask the state officials to come to sometime between now and October, between October 3rd and October 11th? That is the question. Not whether or not it's a good option or a bad option or how the meeting's gonna be run or anything else. It's a matter of, are we going to vote to have that meeting or not?
So that's the question.
So do we have any more discussion on that subject?
No, sir.
I don't know if we do or not. I just don't wanna.
I don't believe there is any
Thank
more
you, Rick.
discussion. So is there a second on that motion?
There has been.
Okay, so
Discussion.
I will call for a vote.
Do you want me to reread it or not?
We got it. October 3rd to October 11th, is that correct?
Yeah, it's gonna be, this hearing will, and responses will be for the public record. That's been added.
Okay. October 3rd to October 11th. We'll have to advertise, sure.
What about the date to
Roll
submit?
call?
Madigan,
Oh, that's the
Aye.
28th.
Billica.
Aye.
Veronica.
Aye.
McMurray.
Nay. Nay, with the reason being, I have no idea what's in their mind.
The other ones,
I'm sure John's just considered him to be a responsible bidder.
okay.
I do too.
Sorry.
Just
Any other comments on this item? Roll call?
Billica.
Aye.
Veronica.
Aye.
Madigan.
Aye.
McMurray.
Aye. Second item, John is requesting approval to award the contract for the asphalt resurfacing of various town roads, job number M-14-2016 to Amherst Paving. 5 bids were received and Amherst was the low bidder. I'll entertain a motion that we approve awarding this bid to Amherst Paving in the amount of $461,000 and $461,060. Is that right? Is there a second?
So moved.
Second. My motion, okay, so it's Billica, Veronica. Roll call?
Billica.
Aye.
Veronica.
Aye.
Madigan.
Aye.
McMurray.
Aye. John Whitney is also requesting authorization to advertise for bids for the Veterans Park Pavilion project, job number M-211. Something we're looking at, we're looking for bids or proposals. I entertain a motion that we authorize the advertising for bids only on the Veterans Park Pavilion, job number M-211, starting Friday, September 23rd, to receive bids on Wednesday, October 12th, 2016 by 10 o'clock a.m. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Veronica.
Aye.
Billica.
Aye.
Madigan.
Aye.
McMurray.
Aye. Under General Communications, we received a letter of protest to the proposed local law number 7, an official protest. The town board will take the reference to the town code section 407-18G under advisory. Mike, can you give us the report of the audit committee?
I'd like to make a motion to pay the following amounts from the following accounts. The general fund, $39,250.60. The highway fund, $22,615.15. The sewer fund, $9,242.35. The water fund, $7,714.06. The capital fund, $9.99. Capital reserve, $242, and the total amount is for $79,074.15.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Unfinished business, the Elderwood Grand Island Independent Senior Housing at 2800 Grand Island Boulevard is still waiting on DEC approval for the sewer extension, and this will stay on unfinished business. I'll keep the police commissioner issue on unfinished business. We still have to decide how to move forward with the parking lot extension for the park maintenance building. Did everyone get a chance to take a look at that?
I'd leave it there for another meeting and then maybe we take it off after that.
All right. Okay, and back to public comments now. Again, we have an opportunity to give public comments here. I would ask you to keep your comments short, 2 minutes. We have some timing tonight. We went way too long last time. I've tried to be lenient with the way people have a chance to speak here. I want people to feel free to express themselves, but I do not want to create a place where people are intimidated not to express themselves. So please understand that it's difficult for everyone to get up in front of the microphone, whether you agree with them or not, and give them the respect they deserve as a citizen of Grand Island. We have diverse ideas and opinions on this island. We have a multitude of views, but we don't want to have a situation where people are feel fearful of speaking. Also, I will ask you to keep your allegations regarding wrongdoing or personal attacks. This is not the forum for that. This is a place for ideas. I ask you to bring your ideas forward. If I feel you are out of line with your comments, I'll ask you to stop. And if you proceed, I will ask you to leave. That being said, we'll open the comment period to the public. Please go to the microphone.
Dan Drexelli's 1149 Whitehaven Road. Hey, how many building permits do we have? I saw it on this consent agenda. I'm just curious where we're standing about this time of year. Don't you keep it running tally? We used to have them on the permit sheets. They used to come out, they're all numbered. Last year we had a whole 512 for the whole year. And that wasn't new houses, it was for everything. Sewers, storm sewers, things of that nature. So I just wonder if there's a...
57.
Huh?
57.
57 for the month, but do you know the running total for the year?
No. Yeah, unless it's over here on the side over here, it's 441.
Thank you.
I don't know if that's right or not, but that's the number of them. Sorry, you caught me off guard there.
I'm John King, and I just want it on record again that I am for Mike Madigan's plan for the bike path option 4 and opposed to the closing of the parkway.
Same as Mr. Kane, Richard Fitzgerald, West River Road. On record, endorsed Mr. Madigan. Also in reference to Mr. Madigan's comments about we are the people. We put everyone in this room where you are today, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Closer.
Get real close, yeah.
Waiting for the squeal. Oh, there it is, okay.
No squeals allowed.
Last council member, I asked you about condos and cabins and sitting out. But in view of your relationship with Delaware North, I'm wondering, are you planning?
Okay, I'm going to stop right there. It's an allegation that has no grounds. There is no opportunity for bidding on anything like that. It's not even close to related, and I'm going to cut you off.
Right.
I'm not, Miss, I cut you off on it. You can talk about your ideas, your feelings for the bike path, but I'm not going to tolerate your accusations again.
No, I'm not making an accusation.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that there is a relationship with Delaware North. However, what I'm asking you now is, are there plans to put concessions?
No.
Of any kind?
No. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Jean Clebel, 25 Luther Way. I want to address that allegation, and please allow me to do so. I am not going to mention any names.
Jeannie, do me a favor.
I've got facts.
Well, I'd like you to stick to ideas about the plans. Let's not talk about allegations or innuendo. Let's stick to the subject matter at hand. I understand you want to defend. I appreciate that. It's personally, but it's okay.
It's causing an awful lot of strife in this community, and it's an outright lie. And I've got facts, and I'd like to present them.
It's okay. No, it's
Okay.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Hi, Mackenzie Hassan, 77 Countryside Lane. I have some things that I want to discuss. I was taking a little bit of notes. So I'm in favor of option number 3, and this is my first meeting adventure. I've been watching a bunch on Grand Island News. And the passive aggressiveness, safety should be our primary concern, obviously. But where do all these cars go when the parkway is closed during the, 6 months?
When was it closed last?
In the winter? So, I don't know where they drive when it's
Let me
closed.
interrupt for a second. Please do not shout out. I saw who did it. I'll ask you to leave if you do it again. Thank you. It's exactly what I said we should not do. It's difficult to stand up here. Let them say their piece. Go ahead.
Sorry, thank you. I guess it was a rhetorical question. Sorry. So access for the disability and the elderly is definitely most important, because I do have a son who has a disability, and that is one of the reasons why I'm advocating for this. Because we do need somewhere where we can teach him how to ride a bike, and we do need somewhere where I can push my baby stroller while he's learning how to ride a bike. He can't ride along the parkway, because that was one thing. Like, number one, you can no longer ride along the parkway for the elderly. Why would you ride along the parkway? Another rhetorical question. I don't understand what the burn and ditch means, so if you could maybe put that on a website so you could explain that. Because you could park in those parking lots that we're talking about having. And I have a picture here because we've been taking my son by car and having to drive down to get to West River so that he can play in the water. And I don't know if you're here because I wasn't there, but somebody owns horses and you brought your horses down, and that made his day. It made his week. So thank you, because he loves horses. He's nonverbal. This is what you should be concerned about, not migratory birds. If I'm your boss, in essence, there's that passive aggressiveness. I'm sorry if I'm getting rude.
No, please just direct your comments.
This is what should be important, is the families on Grand Island.
Thank you. Thank you. I think 2 minutes is up. Thank you.
Stan Coleman, 2825 West River. We still talking about the bike pass, and I don't know why. And that's my question. Why do we have to build a bike pass if we do have a bike pass on West River? I would just like to have an answer, because I think it's more about closing the parkway than building a bike pass. So that's my question. Why do we have to build a bike pass? Who make us do that? Why do we have to do that? Anybody can answer me?
I can only tell you that the state approached the town of Grand Island and asked for their support in putting a bike path from Buckhorn to...
But who asked?
Just a second. The state of New York asked to come and put a bike path between the parkway and the river from Buckhorn...
Oh, that was originally, I understand.
...to Beaver Island, to connect the greenway.
Okay.
That was the comment to us at the time.
As the gentleman before me spoke.
Good point.
The parkway is not closed for 6 months out of the year, like some may think, so where does all that traffic go? People drive on it 12 months a year. The only time they don't drive on it, but still attempt to, is during a snowstorm. It truly is not closed. So the traffic is always still there. But it is truly the closing of the parkway that seems to be the biggest issue. And those of us who live on West River want it to remain open so that the traffic is not that heavy. If we had to choose, we would pick a bike path versus closing. And again, you being our supervisor should speak for all of Grand Island, not just you, and what you think and what a select few may want. You need to hear all of us, so I am in huge favor of this forum that Mr. Madigan is presenting, that we all get to go and discuss like adults without throwing attacks at each other. And hopefully we can all be adults about this. Thank you.
Dean Maracus, 2196 East River.
I've got to say that I'm currently chairman of the Grand Island Republican Committee, and they don't even know that I'm talking tonight, so they don't know what I'm going to say. All I'd like to do is build on what Mike Madigan said, and he said that all you guys are accountable to voters. And the appearance is that the state does whatever they want, we really don't have any control over them. Well, just as the voters control you guys, the voters also control the state. They're just in the next level up. So the state should listen to the people and see what the people want.
Okay, I'm going to close the town hearing. I will move on. Look, I wanted to make a motion to suspend the rules to discuss the item I spoke about downstairs. To suspend the rules to discuss the reorganization issue. So I'll make a motion to suspend the rules so I can discuss the reorganization issue as we discussed downstairs. Is there a second?
I don't think Ray knows what you're talking about.
So Ray, I'm going to talk about it.
I'm sorry, I was at work, so I couldn't make it.
Ray is pretty darn good about being in every single meeting. So Ray, I floated the idea, what I spoke about before, that to do a reorganization where we have code enforcement and building separate, and they report up through engineering. Now, to have this reorganization done will take a considerable amount of effort by the attorneys, by myself, and by our town board, but to make the motions, but in principle, the concept works. I think it'll cut down on some miscommunications between the two groups, and I think to have one central power over both of those groups that we can discuss matters with directly will also save the town board a lot of heartache. So I want to make a motion to reorganize engineering and code enforcement and building in that manner. So we discussed it downstairs, but instead of having a vote downstairs, I floated the idea of suspending the rules upstairs so we could have a vote on the matter here. So I made the motion. Is there a second to have this vote?
I'll second.
Thank you, Chris. So, is there a discussion on the matter?
Yeah, my concern is, I just heard about.
Discussion on suspending the rules.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so motion to suspend the rules. So we have a motion and a second. Can I get a roll call?
Sure. McMurray?
Aye.
Veronica?
Aye.
Billico?
Aye.
Madigan?
Aye.
Okay. So now I'll entertain a motion to reorganize the building department to have building and code enforcement separate that will report up through the town engineer. Is there a second for this motion?
I'll second it.
Or point of discussion?
So, I'm willing to study this. I have a lot of questions. So as long as this is a study, I'd be okay with going along with this. I think there may be some cost savings there. There may be some efficiencies. I don't know. I think it's worth looking into.
I'm for looking into it, not actually passing a motion to say that we will reorg. So a study, a discussion, a review to be followed up with a motion in the future, but not to actually reorg at this time, but just to get the facts together, make the business case. If there's a good opportunity here, we should definitely pursue it.
Yeah,
So would you
we would have to vote on that.
I'll entertain a second motion to study the matter and to have an answer by the end of October 30th. Is there someone that will make that motion?
I would second that motion, make that motion.
Second.
Is discussion on that? To have a study about this matter and to get a plan together by October 30th? Or to reject the item altogether by October 30th? Okay, all in favor? A roll call, rather.
Yeah, so I just want to reiterate, just for Karen's purposes. So this is to perform a study, make the business case, and then we will revisit it. So we're going to table it. It'll be in the active or tabled items, and we'll re-vote on it at the end of the month.
So this
October.
Yeah, I think that we should have a workshop meeting with all the department heads and get their input before not in the dark, get everybody's input before any kind of decisions made.
I do think there could be an opportunity. It's worth understanding what the benefit, pros and cons are of both sides.
Yeah, I think it makes sense, and I'd be looking forward to working with you, all four of you, Ben included, to figure out if we can make a business case for it. So is there a roll call on this?
Madigan?
Aye.
Karanka?
Aye.
Pellicka?
Aye.
McMurray?
Aye. Are there any additional comments from the town board?
Yeah, I'd like to thank the community and anybody here present that was at the fundraiser for Mary Dunbar DeLuiso on Saturday. It was a tremendous effort of people, town board, or not town board, I'm sorry, town employees involved in that, and then the great turnout by the community. I think that's wonderful. And I'd also like Mr. Drexelius to please warn me if he's going to ask that kind of a question next time.
I just thought Ray would be common not to have a running vote.
Yeah, not up here.
Maybe we could change that, Ray, for future?
I'll study.
I'll talk to you next year.
Any other comments from the town board?
Well, if there's any students that need their agendas signed, come on up.
Before we do that, however, before we do that, I just want to make one more comment. I'm sorry to hold you guys up. Your teacher will maybe give you some extra credit. But I want to thank those in attendance tonight for the way they behaved and the way they carried themselves. This was, I mean, to Father, you gave us the admonition in the beginning, and I appreciated that. And I think there was, I think this is Bonnie Fitzgerald. Is she here still? Oh, she made a great comment about acting like adults, and I think we acted like adults today. I know that some of you are angry with my position regarding West River, and you think that I not respected you or represented you well. I know others think I'm doing a great job, but I think it's important that we continue to act in a way that is respectful to each other, and I'm trying to hold myself up to a higher standard of that going forward, and bear with me. But thank you for all of you tonight and the way you acted. I'm very appreciative. So thank you so much. Yes, sir, Father, go ahead. And by the way, Father, you and I have a good relationship because every Saturday morning I wake you up with my basketball with my kids, and you never complain once, right outside your window.
I hate to bust your bubble.
Go ahead.
I'm up at 5:30.
Oh.
At the latest.
Aww.
But I think I'm going to try to do something that we haven't done here that I know of. I always pray God to do things. When's the last time we actually said thank you for helping us and guiding us? And I think the more we put him on our side, the better things are going to be here and forever.
Amen.
So I'll make a motion to close today's meeting at... Oh.
No, adjourn first. Yep.
Sorry. I'm doing it right.
Sorry.
Motion is ordered to adjourn tonight's meeting at, what time is it right now? 9:18. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Please to rise. Tonight we will observe a moment of silence in memory of Linda Ross, Joanne Hasselbeck, Hazel Pop, Mary Fix, and Kevin Oriani. Meeting adjourned.